one or two. So do we have two? If somebody doesn't like a smaller person or a person who needs to hear a little better, or
Art Pixley?
right up in the second row. Don't be afraid, because it looks like they're okay. So I'd like to tell you just a little bit about what we've been studying that relates to this particular performance. Last spring, our present sixth graders in chemistry investigated chemical properties of water. This fall, during our ecology unit, we considered how plants and animals in a variety of ecosystems satisfy their basic need for water. This winter, we considered how the water cycle distributes water unevenly around our planet, particularly in light of the present climate crisis, so that some places end up with way too much water and others not nearly enough. Through this performance, we examined the human element of floods, the ways in which those of us on this part of our planet have been impacted by too much water at times in our backyards. And ultimately we asked, what can we do about this problem? Please note in the program the many people who have helped us with this show, way too many to even mention, and as well as the friends of LGS, probably most of you in this room contributed in some way or other. So thank you all. We appreciate it. I also want to mention that a performance such as this, whenever we do a history performance, or presentation or project, you're always going to leave out a whole bunch of people. So we apologize to all the people that we left out, and many of whom may be your family members or friends. We just look at one little tiny glimpse of the whole big picture and hope that represents some part of the whole. So, Don?
The students listened to all sorts of stories, interviews, they saw videos, and they chose a quote that really spoke to them. And then they wrote a piece about that quote, and then they created these collages to go with that expression. And for this age group, it's very difficult to move to the abstract. They want to have every little detail absolutely perfect. So they really stretched themselves, and they did a beautiful job. They're great artists. You should
take a look. So, some housekeeping. There are 4 emergency exits, you probably know, 2 here, 2 there, throughout the building, directly out to the right, out this exit. Feel free to take pose photos after the show. Your children have been instructed to come and see you before they get changed, so if you want to pose them on the stage or they want to pose with their friends. We do have a ton of pictures that we can make available to you, but if you would like some of your own, by all means. Let's see, there's going to be a DVD recording of the performance that we'll make available in a month or so once it's ready. As you can see, we have some videographers back there. This is the show that they're documenting. So in light of that, the show is about 75 minutes. The performers have worked extremely hard to be seen, to be heard, to give you the best possible performance they can. And as I said, we're also videotaping it, so thank you for remaining seated and calm and quiet. But please do, of course, laugh, cry, hum, sing, sigh, enjoy the show. One more thing, there is, as you know, a bake sale, which helps us defray our expenses and meet our matching costs, our matching funds for the grant. Yes, that's it. Okay, I think that is about it. Okay, yes. Cell phones, oh yeah, turn off your cell phones and all those other things that might go off in the middle of the show. Thanks for the reminder, and have a wonderful time.
in the dark. Oh, the horrible rain, fast and heavy and huge, like a giant, like an angry giant, scooping up our roads and pushing them under lakes and rivers. Then the thunder, the giant's roar, almost shaking the house. Then another roar, the roar of streams and rivers, crashing down and taking away trees and rocks, shoving them at each other, making them crack and split, making everyone realize the power and strength and enormity of our flood. Lincoln's flood of '98. And then making Lincoln small, so small compared to the New Haven River. Now a steadily rising brown torrent. The New Haven River was carved through the valley 14,000 years ago as ice sheets receded, creating a more powerful river that rushes down from Mount Ape. Its waters continue to flow down the mountain into Otter Creek and eventually into Lake Champlain. Brook trouts love its cool, clear mountain water. In the 1880s, folks came to Lincoln to build water-powered businesses. They made their homes on the river. Living on the river comes with challenges, yet Vermonters are known for our adaptability to our environment.
We use our mud season to its full advantage. Heck, why pay top dollar for mud facial at a fancy-smancy resort? We've got our own organic, free-range mud. It leaves your skin clean and refreshed. By gory. Yup. And when the spring thaw puts an end to snowshoeing, why, we try mud shoeing. Mud shoes look a lot like snowshoes because, well, they actually are snowshoes. If you ain't never done it before, you ought to try it. We've also got biodegradable mud boots. By golly, hey, if you get stuck, just step right out of them. By summer, they'll be perfect mulch. Along those lines, we created a party game that's all the rage in mud season. It's called bobbing for boots. You see, you stick your arm in that pile of monkey in your driveway and see what you can pull out. Boots, hubcaps, maybe even a complete front axle.
What we meant was that the folks along the river have to deal with
Water bound and can't get home. Water bound and can't get home. Water bound and can't get home. The water keeps on rising.
After a dry month, it rained for 3 days. The water was up to 25 feet in places. South Lincoln Bridge washed away. Our clobber mill in South Lincoln washed down the river.
I lost a whole strip of land, along with that year's corn crop. My wife and I stood in the rain with our 6 children and watched our home wash away.
Dang!
I was awakened by the roar of a bridge collapsing into the river. This allowed me to escape to higher ground where I watched the river make a new channel right through my parlor.
I was on the 2nd floor of our home, worried sick about my 2 children on the 1st floor. As the water slowly rose, they both floated up on some loose floorboards, and I pulled them up with me. Thank goodness we were all rescued.
Sakes alive!
That summer day, we knew we were in for a big storm. So I started my day's work at the mill, but the water began to rise. So we shut down. We barely made it out before the mill got washed away. All told, 6 mills and their accompanying homes were destroyed in that storm.
October was a rainy month, the year our family moved to Lincoln. I was 8 years old. 1 week after we moved, at the beginning of November, the biggest flood in Vermont's history came roaring through. On our way home from school, when my friend and I crossed the bridge on Downingsville, water came right up to its edge. My friend lived just below the bridge, so I had to head off on my own. As the road leveled, water rose up to my knees, swirling around my legs. I was terrified.
It rained for nearly 2 days straight. The rivers rose quickly. They said it was traveling downstream 60 miles an hour in places. Burnham Hall was flooded a foot deep inside. The South Lincoln Bridge swept away. Before it got real bad, one of our cows wandered across the road. When we saw how high the water was rising, we gathered our animals and brought them up to the barn on higher ground. This one cow across the road got spooked by the water, but we kept calling her. By gosh, she finally got up the nerve and swam clear across the road.
Sweet Jerusalem on a bicycle.
That's right.
After the flood, I walked from Lincoln to Middlesex to make sure my wife's parents were okay. There was no other way to contact them.
By the time the flood waters receded, the damage was beyond belief. 84 Vermonters died, including a woman who died of fright in Rutland. Egads!
It was a warm fall day until the hurricane hit. taking us by surprise. My brother Donald and I were young men trudging home through the storm, knee-deep in water. We crossed Lincoln Center Bridge and headed up Gove Hill. 5 minutes later, that bridge collapsed.
That was a fine pickle.
Yes, sir. When we got home, we settled around the kitchen table and told Dad our story. All of a sudden, we heard a loud crash. Our father had one prosthetic leg, but he hopped right up and opened the door to see what all that ruckus was about. I tell ya, the house started giving way, and he nearly fell off into the water. Foundation below him had just washed out.
Jeepers.
Yup, that was Lincoln's most damaging storm of my lifetime. We were entirely cut off from the outside world for 2 days.
We had an awful flood that winter. One of the worst I'd ever seen. Rocks hitting against each other made a huge racket. That night, I stood on the parsonage porch looking out through the streetlight at an ocean of water. Heavens, you couldn't see the other side of the river.
The water is wide, I can't cross over, and neither have the wings to fly. Build me a boat that can carry two, and both shall row, my love and I. Gee willikers, Patty. Why would a river do all that? I have been fishing and gathering data on the New Haven for years. The math is pretty simple. When the water flowing downstream becomes more than the river channel can hold, we have a flood. The average flow of water in the New Haven River in late summer is roughly 100 cubic feet per second, or CFS. The river can handle that just fine. In the spring, when the ice thaws, the river swells to 500 feet per second, or even 1,000 CFS. Don't you worry though, the river is prepared for that. Now, during Irene in 2011, the flow was to 18,000 cubic feet per second. Holy moly! That's right. During the 98 flood, the New Haven flow was recorded at nearly 22,000 cubic feet per second, making 98 a considerably bigger event than Irene was for the New Haven. Whoa! But where does all that extra water come from? That's another story. But I can tell you this. All the water that's ever been on Earth is still here. No more and no less.
It's a sunny day in the ocean. I'm beating down on that water. It's getting hot here in the ocean. I don't think I can swim anymore. I'm feeling hot and airy. I think the sun is really doing it to me. I can't help it. I'm hot and I'm full of energy. That's what I do, and I do it so well, don't I?
Yes, you do. But I think I'm getting dizzy. And there isn't even a whirlpool here. I'm feeling so strange. I think I'll just float for a while. No more swimming for me.
Uh-oh! You're not floating in the water anymore. You're floating in the air. You're not a drop of water either. You're water vapor now.
What's water vapor? It's water, but it's a gas. You've evaporated and turned into gas, and now so have I. Let's go flying. I feel like joining the others and forming a crowd. I think you mean a cloud, not a crowd. Okay, let's condense. Condense? What does that mean? Condensing means we'll change back into a liquid. Water, of course. Then we'll be part of a cloud. Okay. Beautiful fluffy cloud. Let's fly over the land and watch the goats. Take a look at those beautiful mountains. But now I'm feeling heavy and cold. I think I'm gonna rain. Here we go. Whee! Brr. It's getting cold and something's having my shape. Hey! What's got 6 arms and there's nothing exactly like it in the whole world?
Me! I'm so special. Oh, yeah, you too, of course. We're both snowflakes. Hey, where are you going now?
I can't stop falling! You're falling too, but where are we going?
Down?
Duh, I knew that. It looks like we're taking a trip to the mountains. I hope you know how to ski.
Well, it looks like we're stuck on this glacier for a while. I wonder why they call them rivers of
Ice. I'm getting crushed here. Now I'm ice. This is not my favorite part of the water cycle.
We're only moving at about 1 foot a year. This is going to be so boring. It's a long, long way to the bottom.
You better get used to it. We're stuck on this glacier for a while.
A long, long, long time later, two very large drops of water emerged from the bottom of the glacier. I haven't been much help to them lately.
Wow! I finally melted! Me too! I'm free at last! What a change!
We were practically standing still, but now we're shooting the rapids.
Whoa! Watch out for that rock! And that waterfall! Ouch! I've had enough of this! Can we go home now?
We don't have a home. At least we're out of those mountains.
Hey! The water's getting deeper! What's going on here? You can slow down now. We're in a river.
And we're getting warmer.
I like this. Not too fast and not too slow. Let's go down that side stream. It looks clear and clean. Okay. This looks familiar.
We're in a reservoir now. We'll be flowing through huge pipes soon. I've been here before, though it's been a while.
Here they are! Ugh, it's dark and spooky and these pipes. How do we get out of here?
Just go with the flow.
There's a light at the end of the tap. We're in a sink. Ew! That kid is brushing her teeth. I hope she doesn't drink us. It's really weird when that happens.
Woo! That was a close call. Looks like we're whirlpooling down the drain. Hold your nose.
Oh, it's really smelly in here. Ugh. And it's so dark. We must be in the septic tank. Under someone's house. Let's get out of here. Phew! We've made it to the leach field. Now that we're all filtered and clean, let's percolate into the groundwater. That's the place to be.
Nice, but we could be here for some time. Hey, I think I smell salt. Let's head over there.
Hooray! We're finally back in the ocean. You know, I've done that trip 1,000,000 times. And every time it seems to be different.
Yeah, I was in a typhoon in Thailand twice.
I was rain in Rwanda.
Well, I was snow in Siberia.
We've all been snow in Siberia. But I was a puddle in Pakistan.
I was in a swamp in Switzerland.
There are no swamps in Switzerland. But a long, long time ago, I was sleet that fell into the snout of a T-Rex.
Show off. I ran on a plane in Spain. It was groundwater for over 500 years.
Boring.
Hi there. It's me again. Did you miss me? I know you did.
I'm feeling hot and dizzy.
Oh no, it's starting all over again.
I wonder where we'll go this time. Meow.
Well, it turns out that warm air holds more water vapor than cold air. So hot, dry areas tend to get even drier. And once all that water is up in the atmosphere, it's going to come down eventually in moist places like Vermont. The storm that became Irene started its journey in the Sahara Desert in Africa. And by the time it got to Vermont, it had packed a punchload of water.
You can say that again.
Please be careful, the radio warns. Trees sway. Gently feel the raindrops. A cup of tea, soup, and a cozy blanket. Dad says it's okay to go outside as long as we wear coats. We are safe on the hill. Night, Mom, I say, as water streams off the grass, in plates, in lightning flashes, neon, yellow, and red. Poor wet dogs, I think, out there in the sheets of nails. I let them in. Shrieks of thunder, Mom's eyes, a frightened cat, a sea of wind, screaming at the dark, at a raccoon's face. Our house creaks, uneasy. What can Mother Nature do? The night asks. Trees shake, fall like dominoes, lumbers of an angry giant. I gather and pack. I am an ant.
We drive away while a heavy blanket of rain bullets on our car and whips the sky like a wild horse's tail. Why won't it stop? My stomach asks. Butterflies as fast as missiles inside me, like objects loosed by wind. My brother tells my mom to cross the mudslide. What bridge? Where is it? We ask the cheetah-fast river, whose roars drown even the wind. And it answers our bridge with a waterfall and chunks of road-gone apple bobbing. Mom backs up the car. Then, as rocks fall, we go.
But meanwhile, at home, rhinoceros water slams into walls and wrestles our halls into ditches. A lion, a thief of a lion, with hair raging and black, grabs our belongings in snatches and yanks trees by their roots and swallows, leaving only the mud.
A power line leans over the road, obviously dead. Another line leans over a river.
Thank goodness! Nobody was hurt. the early morning, only mixed, blurred, and smudged. Today, our town is a smoothie, a brown piece of cloth covered with wrinkles, and it smells like wet dog. Thank goodness nobody was hurt. I think, though lightning has struck, and our wood pile is burnt, and our old birch fell on top of the doghouse last night. A boulder crashed into our house last night. A boulder crashed into a ditch last night. The ditch in front of our driveway. A ditch that is still a pond. Today, our land is an island. The air feels thick with garbage. Why won't it stop? I ask in the early morning. Why won't it stop? Wade in water.
Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. The river's pouring into my backyard. God's gonna trouble the water. I watch my life being washed away. God's gonna trouble the water. This rain just doesn't wanna go away. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. We all pull together, lend a helping hand. God's gonna trouble the water.
Build that bridge just as fast as you can.
God's gonna trouble the water. Making friendships every step of the way. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Recent times have brought some of the mightiest storms of all to Vermont.
It's pretty rough sledding out there. You know, Jimmy, this is the second time we've done this. But heck, I wasn't born in the woods to be afraid of an owl.
You're not having a flashback, are you, Grandpa?
I suppose you could say I am. I remember helping my Grandpa Orlo evacuate in 1927. Just like you're helping me now. Only then, we used a rowboat. You know Orlo built this house, don't you, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as young as I used to be.
Get in the boat, Grandpa. The water's rising quickly, and we've got to get you out of here before it gets any worse. I want to live to be as old as you.
So don't I want that, Gus. I was moving as fast as my old legs would have carried me.
Come on, Grandpa. Let's wade through this water and get to higher ground. I plan on getting to be as old as you someday. Lincoln was more fortunate than many towns during Irene. Thousands of homes and businesses were destroyed across Vermont. Roads were washed out for days. Lives were lost.
Ivana Tseva, 20, was working at the Mount Snow ski area in Dover. She was in a car with her boyfriend and 2 other men on Sunday when they came upon an area of road flooding. As the car was swept away by floodwaters, the 2 men got to safe ground. Tseva's boyfriend was able to hold on to the car, but Tseva was swept away. Her body was found Sunday evening when the waters receded. Michael J. Garifano and his son, Michael G. Garifano, both drowned while checking intake valves at the Rutland Water Reservoir early Sunday afternoon. They wanted to make sure the dirty water wasn't contaminating the city's water supply. It's believed the 2 men were swept away when the bank gave way along the Minden Brook. Father and son died while protecting their community. 1/3 of the houses destroyed by Irene were mobile homes.
Nobody can build here, so people like us living in trailers get stuck in bad situations.
The river came up over the road and basically turned the whole trailer park into a river. There was no warning. We all had a few feet of water in our homes.
It rose up 5.5 feet in our trailer in just half an hour.
2 weeks before this fiasco, my insurance company dropped me. I sure hope this FEMA thing comes through. That's my only hope for the future.
Irene was devastating to thousands of Vermonters.
I was out of town during Irene. My friend Kristen was checking on my house. When my cell phone rang, I thought it was her.
Hi, Tracy. It's Ed. Everybody on Water Street has been evacuated.
Did Kristen get my sump pump going?
Well, it's not good, Tracy. Houses on Water Street are in bad shape. And I'm really, really sad to tell you that, well, your house, it's gone.
No way!
Okay, Ed, I'll come back as soon as I can get there and get what I can off the second floor.
No, Tracy, your house is gone. It's gone down the river. I watched as the maple tree that shaded Tracy's front lawn crashed into the roiling river. Watched as 4 houses, one by one, were torn from their foundations, submerged in the wild brown water, floating downstream until they each hit Depot Street Bridge, where they exploded, torn to shreds. It was a horrible thing to watch.
I was speechless. I felt sick. I tried to find something to hold on to in my mind. I said to myself, oh, thank goodness I have homeowner's insurance. Thank goodness for that. Except, it turns out I didn't have flood insurance.
Neither did the other 3 homeowners.
They weren't even considered to be in a flood hazard area. That is how unpredictable Irene was.
For real?
You know, it wasn't a flood we had. It was a geological event. We found what was left of the houses that had been demolished by the river. I tell you, I've never seen anything like it before. All that we found of one house was a foundation 50 or 60 feet away from where it was before the storm.
I can't even.
Literally, a river runs through that place.
These events stretched our ability to cope as a state. Yet, Vermonters stood up to the challenge.
Hello? Is this the state engineer?
Yes, speaking.
I'm Greg Mosier. I'm calling to let the folks of Montpelier know that US 4 is washed out near Mendon. I'm headed over with my bulldozer to start working on it.
I'm afraid you can't do that, Mr. Mosier. You are not on the approved list of state contractors.
Am I asking you for permission? No! I am telling you what I'm doing.
Hey, Greg, I'm all set. Right, Mark?
Wait a minute. How did you get up here? All the roads from your place are washed out.
Well, it was just horse sense. I hopped into my truck and headed south on 103. The roads were damaged, but passable. When I got to Ludlow, I turned north on Route 100 until the road ended in a washout. I left my truck and slogged 6 miles through the mud, climbed across a second chasm where I borrowed a truck sitting there, just waiting for me with the keys in it, drove it a mile until the road ended in a big chasm. So I parked the car, left the keys in it, and walked the rest of the way.
Holy moly!
Yep. Of course, right about now, I'm so hungry I could eat the north end of a southbound skunk. But hey, what have you got planned?
Well, we can't waste any more time. Standing back chewing on our guns. We'll have to chow down later. First off, I figure we'll head over to 104, take all our rigs and start in.
Wasn't that a mighty storm? Wasn't that a mighty storm in the morning? Well, wasn't that a mighty storm that blew all the houses away? Rain, it was a falling, thunder began to roll, lightning flashed like fire, the wind began to blow. Burnham Hall was flooded, the water getting high. Children's books on the lowest shelves, they started floating by. Was that a mighty storm? Wasn't that a mighty storm in the morning? Well, wasn't that a mighty storm that blew all the houses away?
Years ago, people of all ages in the Lincoln community rallied after the flood of '98, the biggest storm this generation in Lincoln has ever seen.
With heavy road damages and loss of bridges, Lincoln became an island for 2 days. Thanks to volunteer crews and emergency workers, there was no loss of life. Hello? Dan? This is Mary Harrison. Burnham Hall is flooding. We need the whole fire away to sandbag the foundation. See if you can save it from damage. Dave just headed over to the hall.
Yikes, I'm on my way, Mary.
Which will be our temporary library. We'll pull the rest of the books off the floor, spread them on tarps outside, and remove their circulation cards for record of what we've lost. After removing the books, we'll hose down the shelves and let them dry.
Let's get going, Elizabeth. We've got work to do.
Okay, but it smells like wet dog, garbage, and bad eggs all mixed up in there, and it's muddy too.
It does smell much better out here.
You're right about that. The Wizard of Oz. That's my favorite book in the whole library. Too bad it's ruined.
You're in luck, Elizabeth. I believe the other copy was loaned out when the storm hit. It's coming back soon, dry and clean.
That's dandy. But Linda, where will we check out our books now that the library is gone?
Lincoln has had a library for 124 years, and our library will continue. But I am never putting another book back on a shelf where it may get flooded again. Yeah.
There's a great need for assistance. It's a chance to do for others.
After Irene, 146 state road segments and 34 bridges were closed. Folks with heavy equipment magically appeared and got to work.
Within 36 hours of the end of the storm, Craig Mosier and his crew had one lane of US 4 in Killington ready for traffic. Other crews had similar accomplishments.
By golly, we worked day and night. But 18 days after the Roaring Brook washed out US 4, anyone who thinks they can keep a river from just going where it wants to go is dreaming.
But hey, Irene gave us all a chance to tell our wives why we bought our rigs.
Well, you've got to admit, we were lucky to have the equipment and the talent pool we needed for the job.
Yeah, and we were lucky it didn't happen during hunting season. All over Vermont, there were people who put everybody else before themselves.
You know, Marcia, our crops are gone this year. Contaminated by floodwater. Can't do nothing about that now, so we may as well just do some good.
Okay, Gio, let's go through our cell phones and tell everyone we know to get down here and pitch in. Not just the people we think will say yes. We ask everybody.
Sure thing. I tell you, it's hard to admit when you need help, but you don't have to ask permission to help people. We're just going to show up and start shoveling.
Homes washed out across the state, people in need and they just can't wait. Digging out cellar holes filled with mud, left behind by that mighty flood. Grab your shovel, will you lend a hand? Our library's full of mud and sand. Ask these books on down the line. What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine.
For most of us, Irene is over.
But months, and even 2 years later, for those who lost homes and businesses, the flood remains present tense.
Irene erased my life. My home and everything in it is gone. There was no trace left behind. Even my land was scoured away and became part of the riverbed.
4 weeks after Irene, Tracy spent hours each day picking through a debris pile found downstream from where her house used to be. One day, she found a single cup from an antique china set that had been her grandmother's.
That is all that's left of my entire house.
My house collapsed with me in it, and I barely escaped, almost losing my life with the whole event into the proper perspective. What I miss most is not our house, but the belief I once had that a man's house is his castle. Things seem so impermanent now.
After Irene, we had no place to go and no money. On top of that, we were asked to pay thousands of dollars that we didn't have to get our destroyed mobile homes removed from the trailer park, which wasn't our property.
We needed help from our government, so we went to a meeting, but we didn't get the answers we needed. It was kind of just running around in circles.
You know, it doesn't always have to do about money. It has to do with power and respect. We figured if we all stuck together, we wouldn't get put on the back shelf.
So we organized and we spoke out. That's when the wheels started turning. Eventually, the funding was provided. Our mobile homes were taken away at no cost to us, and we began to get our lives resettled.
I've always used to kind of stand back. This tragedy has made me stand out. People need to get together and help each other.
Debbie. We will have a new library. Even better than the old one.
Linda, perhaps we can use this disaster as an opportunity to do what you and other folks have been talking and dreaming about for years.
Maybe I can help out with a little publicity. I'll write an article to help spread the word about your wonderful library here in Lincoln. Let them know how important it is to our community.
And that's just what happened. After Chris Bojalian's article came out in the Burlington Free Press, it was picked up by the Boston Globe and Reader's Digest. Letters and donations started rolling in.
Dear Linda, please accept this donation for your new library. What you are doing is just incredible. I've enjoyed books my whole life. And although I live in California, I'm thrilled to become a friend of the Lincoln Library. Sincerely, Anne Marie.
Bring! Hello, Mrs. Norton. I'm over at the Lincoln General Store to deliver some boxes from Houghton Mifflin. Where would you like them?
Oh, just drop them off in front of the general store. I'll pick them up tomorrow when we're open.
I don't think so. We have got 500 pounds of books here.
Oh my! I'll head right over to our makeshift library and let you in.
Linda and the new assistant librarian, Debbie Gray, started planning.
We'll have a cozy community room with warm lighting and comfy couches.
And a real low circulation desk so all the kids can reach it.
Yes! We want everyone to feel welcome the moment they walk in.
In 2 years, this vision became a reality. The Lincoln Library became a model for other towns in Vermont and beyond.
And when Irene struck Vermont in 2011, the town of Lincoln was prepared. Burnham Hall had been flood-proof with concrete floors, mold-resistant walls, and release valves. Although it took in water during that storm, the building was dry and clean in just a couple days. How do we live with the river? There will be flooding.
You can't control a river.
It may not go where we want it to go.
Don't build on a floodplain.
Weather patterns are changing.
Climate change.
The river.
Our community.
The most important stories of our time.
We're going to have to tell these stories ourselves. This river is the heart of our town. It's been our livelihood, but it can tear us down. amazed at the water. Maniacs who swim, better stay back. It'll suck you in. This river is the heart of our town. It's been our livelihood, but it can tear us down. Our most prized possessions get washed away. Old chunks of road, gone in the day. Never met my neighbors, didn't know their name. And now we're close friends after all that rain. We all pull together, keep the faith. It's just stuff after all. We're all safe. We couldn't go to work, the road washed away. Stranded on an island, but not in the Bahamas. Lots of big trees, went for a swim. This is no vacation, it's a pickle we're in. FEMA couldn't help some of the folks, including the farmers who lost all their crops. People in trailers got sick from black mold, so we all pulled together to share the load.
Watch out for the bridge!
Ah, the bridge! Here comes the bridge!
How did a bridge get in my house?
Rain, rain, go the boulders. Thunder, lightning, and rain. The river has a mind of its own. Day to day, it's never the same. We were up day and night, scraping up mud, cleaning up garbage and rippling books. Food in our freezer made a pop-up feast. Ben and Jerry's ice cream turned into shakes. People with backhoes started right in, fixing the roads without permission or pay. Donations of lumber came rolling in, boards from wrecked houses. Fix the covered bridge. This river is the heart of our town. It's been our livelihood, but it can tear us down. Our most prized possessions get washed away. Old chunks of road, gone in a day. Never met my neighbor, didn't know their name. And now we're close friends after all that rain. We all pull together, keep the faith. It's just stuff after all. But we're all safe. The climate is changing, so we better beware. Get your flood kit ready with the change of underwear. How do we live with the changing river? We know we can't control it cause it wants to meander. The river needs the floodplain to spread out so it won't blast through and rip up our town. What's happened before and it will happen again. This is just the beginning, not the end. Not the end. This river is the heart of our town. It's been our livelihood, but it can tear us down. Our most prized possessions get washed away. Whole chunks of road, gone in a day. Never met my neighbor, didn't know their name. Now we're close friends after all that rain. We all pull together, keep the faith. It's just stuff after all. But we're all safe. We're all safe. We're all safe.
I just want to thank Alice and Donna because well, this is their last year here, and they've been really great teachers, and I've loved knowing them for the past 2 years that I have. And yeah, they've just been so great, and they've both helped amazingly with this production, and they're one of the key people that made it possible. So.
They were like the key thing to making this performance happen, and I really liked having them both as a teacher for the past 2 years.
I would like to thank Alice and Donna for teaching me the past 2 years. It's pretty special to have them, and I remember the beginning of 5th grade and now, and how much I've grown, I guess.
All right, we have more bouquets. All right, could Joe Shine please come up?
Thank you for helping us with the dance.
Now, Lindsay, is Lindsay here? Thank you. All right. Sweet peepers.
I love this school, and I love that you guys did all this stuff about water. Yes!
All right, is Nancy here?
Hi, Nancy. Thanks for helping us when we set. It made the place so much better. And yeah, I wasn't planning on saying this, but you know, I've been forced to do things in the past.
And our wonderful musicians, Son and Rick, come up. Thank you for an incredible production.
Wow, I always wondered what you guys saw when you were up here. Incredible. We are here, Nancy and I, to thank, where are Donna and Alice? They were hiding. She's gotten lost. So, on behalf of the parents in this community and the teachers in this school and the friends of Donna and Alice, I would like to thank you. Thank you so much for all that you have done. I honor you both as role models, and you have stretched all of the children in our community in ways beyond imagination. you will be incredibly blessed. We have a great role model. Carry on, please.
There's so much to say about these two wonderful people. I did this because I can't do that. And the influence they've had on our kids all these years. What Pike's explained has become a rite of passage for me. Every single year in the end, the kids discover that they have greatness in them. And it's not because they've been told, it's because they worked for it and they felt it inside their own bodies. They know now what it feels like to push themselves outside of the box and become something more than they thought they could be. This they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. Some of them may not find their way to the stage again, but no matter, it will be a candle that burns inside them, giving them confidence when they think they can't do it. This experience proves that they can. And I know that because it's true for my children. And many other people here probably know that about their kids. So, thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
For sticking. By the children and seeing who they are, and for dressing them. and keeping them laughing. And Alice, thank you for holding that bar so high and insisting that they reach it. It's been an honor working with you on all these days and watching how each year they've mad and funny every time. We will all miss it and cannot quite see life here without you. But change is inevitable and it's healthy. And so from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure most of us here, I want to thank you for your thoughtful creativity, your extreme dedication, and your life.